All right, everybody, welcome into the high noon stream for this Friday afternoon, Friday, the 8th day of June. I apologize. We had some problems to start. We were going to begin this Rare Friday show because, as I said, summer rules apply. I'll be missing a lot of Fridays, but today we're doing the show. I was getting ready to start right at the top of the hour, and then just as I hit go live, it started to count down. I don't need to get all technical with you, but it started to count down on my end. And then suddenly the internet was lost. And then I got a little bubble that said, you need to go live again, or whatever it was. Oops. It said, oops. So I had to reboot everything. I do apologize. And then as I was getting ready to restart again around 12:05, a mere 5 minutes late, I was putting my headphones in and my bud popped off and I couldn't find it. So I had to delay a couple more minutes to find where the headphone bud went. But we're here now. Welcome into the Friday show. This is High Noon each and every day, Monday through Friday, here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. We run through the trends, hot topics, current events, all those things, anything that's happening in the world. I try and give it to you here in a nice little bite-sized nugget. We do a second stream every day. That's called Pillow Talk. That's Pugs and Parker proudly present Pillow Talk on the Radio Misfits podcast platform. That comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Thursday evenings. Also, keep it here. Subscribe to the channel, hit like, do what, all those things. I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at the heavy lifting of streaming. But all those things that you do, we will also be jumping in should any major news events occur. If I'm available. It's like, I apologize for that. I'd love to be available all the time. The last couple of big breaking news incidents that occurred, I was either on a boat or I was in a car with my kid. So I do apologize for that. But that is our pledge to you. We're going to try and bring you anything that's happening when it's happening right here on the Radio Misfits podcast platform and streaming service. Call us a streaming service. All right, let's get into what we do here on this show, the High Noon Show. Here's what we do. It's in a couple of different compartments. We start out by telling you everything that you need to know about this day. This particular day is July the 8th. Year of our Lord 2022. It's the 189th day of the year. There's 176 remaining. See, like that. And then we go through all the history of the day. Then we celebrate some birthdays. Who's having a birthday? Who died today? And then we get into all of the topics. Now, what topics are coming for you today? Well, among them, we've got many, but among them, we're going to talk about the assassination of the former Japanese prime minister. We're going to celebrate the life and reputation of James Caan just a little bit. He passed away yesterday. There are new warnings about Tijuana. We'll get into that. We'll talk a little Tijuana. Vince McMahon, the Vince McMahon drama, he's in trouble, so we'll cover all of that. Herschel Walker's in trouble. Big changes coming to the Sunday Ticket. And what the hell happened with DoorDash last night? We'll get into all of those things. All of those subjects are headlines, trending topics, or just things that people are buzzing about today. But let's get started. All right, what happened on this day? As we already mentioned, excuse me, the 8th day of July, 2022. On this very day in 1898. All right, this is a fun one. And I probably the death of crime boss Soapy Smith in 1898. The death of crime boss Soapy Smith, killed in a shootout in Juneau, Alaska. Now, here's why I mentioned him. Maybe you've never heard of Soapy Smith. The reason I've heard of him is because I had a college professor who claimed to be related to him. So we got all of these stories about Soapy Smith. Many of you know that I fancy myself an undiscovered television creation talent. I have all these ideas for TV shows. I have been thinking about how cool, like an HBO series or something like that, on the life of Soapy Smith. Okay, here's what Soapy Smith. Here, let me just click on this. Let me tell you who Soapy Smith was, and then you tell me if you would watch this TV show. Okay. Now this is a really fascinating, notorious gangster criminal from a long, long time ago, the late 1800s, the Deadwood days kinds of stuff. Tell me if you don't think this would make an interesting TV show. Jefferson Randolph Soapy Smith was an American con artist and gangster in the American frontier. Smith operated confidence schemes across the western United States and had a large hand in organized criminal operations in both Colorado and the emerging territory of Alaska. Smith gained notoriety through his prize soap racket. See, he was famous because he invented the idea. He sold soap, and it was like garbage soap, but the only way that he could come up with to get people to buy his soap was that he would put money in the middle of the soap, like random bars of soap would have money in it. And so everybody would buy it because why not? You got to buy soap anyway. And what if you get a bar of soap that has some money in it? The problem is that he had fixed it so that the only people who won money in their soap were people that were in his gang. That's what he did. He did that. He did that and all kinds of things. Let's see here. Smith gained notoriety through his prize soap racket, in which he would sell bars of soap with prize money hidden in some of the bars, packaging in order to increase the sales. And here it is right here. Okay. However, through sleight of hand, he would ensure that only members of his own gang purchased the prize soap. The racket led to the sobriquet of Soapy, one being Soapy. The success of his soap racket and other scams helped him finance 3 successive criminal empires. Remember, I'm telling you, this is a TV show. This is like an HBO show on this guy. This guy is a character. The success of his soap racket and other scams helped finance 3 successive criminal empires in Denver, Creedy territory of Colorado, and in Alaska. He was killed in a shootout in Juneau on this day here. Hold on. There's some crazy stuff about him. All right. Career. Soapy Smith moved to Fort Worth, Texas, where he formed a close-knit, disciplined gang of shills and thieves. Come on, this is a TV show of shills and thieves to work for him. He quickly became a well-known crime boss and eventually the king of the frontier con men. His gang of swindlers, known as the Soap Gang, included men such as Texas Jack Vermillion and Big Ed Burns. They moved from town to town, plying their trade on unwary victims. Their principal methods were short cons, in which swindles were quick and needed little setup and assistance. The short cons included the shell game, 3-card Monte, and rigged poker games, which they called the Big Mitts. And that's a TV show. I don't want to get into the whole biography of Soapy Smith, but I'm telling you, I would watch a TV show about a gang of unscrupulous frontier con men, right? Wouldn't that be fun? I think it would be fun. I don't know. What do I know? All right. That happened today in 1898. On this day in 1947, reports are broadcast that a UFO crash landed in Roswell, New Mexico, in what became known as the Roswell UFO incident. That was on this day in 1947. All right, so I am a big UFO and alien hobbyist. I'm fascinated by all of this stuff. And I will tell you, as somebody who has been really into UFOs for probably 45 years now, probably since the first time I saw Close Encounters or when I was abducted. Yeah, there's more on that, but not today. You got to know me to hear that story. Anyway, here's my problem. I've always had a problem with Roswell. Not necessarily because of the basis of the story that occurred on this day in 1947. I've had a problem with Roswell because of what it has become. It has become sort of ground zero for the lunatic UFO crowd, right? You know, people dressed as green men and all that stuff. There is so much nonsense surrounding the Roswell incident that I just completely dismiss it all. However, the original stuff, like there is interesting shit about the Roswell incident. It's just that it's been corrupted and co-opted by, well, con men and crazy UFO people. And it's just, it's best to stay. If you're going to jump into the world of UFO research and trying to figure out what all this stuff is, just give very little significance to the Roswell incident, because it's been whizzed on all over. It's just been tainted. It's too crazy. But it happened on this day, and I do believe that something happened. I just don't believe like half of the so-called experts on the situation. On this day in 1960, Francis Gary Powers is charged with espionage by the Soviet Union, resulting from his flight over Moscow. Moscow? I didn't think it was over Moscow. Where did I get that from? Okay, anyway. Gary Francis Powers. This was the day that he was charged with being a spy for the United States. This incident, the Gary Powers incident, is what huge, massive rock band takes their name from the Gary Powers incident, the Francis Gary Powers incident. Okay. Nobody. I know we've got a delay here in the chat room, so we can't really play. U2, the band U2. Gary Francis Powers was flying a U2 spy plane, and it was the first time that there was much publicity for this new piece of technology that the United States had. And the band U2 named themselves U2 after the plane that Francis Gary Powers was flying. On this day in 1994, Kim Jong-il begins to assume supreme leadership of North Korea upon the death of his father, Kim Il-sung. Kim Jong-il is the Kim Jong that I still think of first. The one we got now is the pudgy little son. That's Kim Jong-un. This guy, the guy who assumed power on this day, was his dad. He was the really short guy who wore the giant platform shoes because he was insecure about being so short, and he had gigantic hair because his hair made him 5'5". Between the heels and the giant hair, he was 5'5". With a shaved head and bare feet, he was probably 4'8". But okay, so that was on this day. On this day in 2011, the Space Shuttle Atlantis is launched in the final mission of the U.S. Space Shuttle program. Big space guy, born on July 20th and all that stuff. I love the whole manned space mission history and all that stuff. Was never a fan of the space shuttles. I think the Space Shuttle program is what destroyed American interest in the space program in general, and NASA. The Space Shuttle program did more damage to the ongoing exploration of the outer reaches of our universe than any other single thing. Why? Because they abandoned the stuff that people were excited by. The people were excited by the firsts. The people were excited by doing the first things, going further. They had finished the Apollo missions. And then they moved into the whole idea, NASA I'm talking about, moved into the whole idea of the economy of outer space. What could they do with satellites? How could this, change? So, and that's very boring stuff, just launching satellites. I mean, look, the way we live today is almost entirely dependent on these satellites. So, it paid off, and it was the right decision ultimately, I think. But the American public lost interest in the shuttle program because the shuttle program was essentially a pickup truck in outer space. It was designed to carry stuff so that they could launch satellites, go back and forth to the space station, all of that stuff. And it was just boring. It was the same sort of mission every single time. There were no firsts. They weren't really pushing the envelope the way they had during the Mercury, Gemini, and then the Apollo programs. And people lost interest. And then Congress lost interest. And then NASA got defunded. And now here we are. We don't even have rockets. We got rockets, but we don't even send people to space anymore. Elon Musk does. Jeff Bezos is sending William Shatner and Michael Stray. Is this the way to get people excited about space exploration again? I don't know. Anyway, on this day, 2011, the final space shuttle mission, there was the shuttle Atlantis. And today, 2022, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is shot twice and killed while giving a speech in Nara. More on that for sure, because we talk about trending topics. Births today. People celebrating birthdays today. Born on this day in 1935 and still kicking it. I would have bet the kids' college fund that this guy had died a couple of years ago. Can't believe he's still around. It seems like everybody else from his generation has passed on. But Steve Lawrence, does that name, if you come from the 80s, you probably remember Steve and Edie. Steve Lawrence and his wife, Edie Gourmet, they were so throwback. I mean, the music industry had just passed them by, but they remained relevant into the 90s thanks to people like Jerry Lewis and Frank Sinatra and all that. Steve and Edie, they'd get up on the Tonight Show. Johnny would bring out Steve and Edie, and then they'd sing a medley of pop songs. Wasn't even their own songs. Were Steve and Edie known for having hit songs? No, they just got up at clubs and sang other people's. I don't know. I didn't get them, but anyway. Steve Lawrence was also an actor. He was famously Murray, the Blues Brothers manager in the movie The Blues Brothers. He's celebrating a birthday today. He's still alive. Good for him. His wife, Edie, she died 10 years ago or something. I don't know. He's been alone for a while. Poor Steve Lawrence. Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. Also born on this day in 1944. I think he's an American treasure, but there is a little bit of stink on him due to being caught up in the whole Me Too movement of a couple of years ago. I guess it's an ongoing movement. Happy birthday, Jeffrey Tambor. Hey now, Jeffrey Tambor has played two of, I mean, if I had to sit down and come up with the five funniest television characters of all time, I think Jeffrey Tambor very well may possess two spots on my top five list. Jeffrey Tambor was, of course, Hank Kingsley in Larry Sanders, the Larry Sanders Show on HBO, which is just one of the great television shows of all time. Hey now. I mean, every time you hear somebody go, hey now, that's a Jeffrey Tambor theft. That's Jeffrey Tambor's character, Hank Kingsley from Arrested Development. He went on to be in Arrested Development. He played the father, the patriarch of the Bluth family. Very funny character, very funny role. Started out on the Ropers. He was, if you remember the Ropers, the spinoff. He was in, what was that movie? Was it Dog Day? No, it was And Justice for All. I think he was in Yeah. Anyway, Jeffrey Tambor celebrating a birthday today. Apparently, he had a makeup artist who said he got a little grab ass, or not even grab assy. I think he just said some inappropriate things. So, now I guess we don't talk about Jeffrey Tambor. Happy birthday to Rafi, born on this day in 1948, Egyptian-Canadian singer-songwriter. I don't know who Rafi is. I mean, I know the name, of course, because, I have a fairly good hold on pop culture. He came after me. Yeah, you want to talk about kids stuff? For me, we're talking Mr. Rogers, Captain, what was his name? Captain Kangaroo? Is that a thing? Why am I getting Captain Kangaroo and Captain Crunch mixed up? I don't Captain Kangaroo. It's Captain Kangaroo, Sesame Street. Those are the ones. I don't know Rafi. I know the things that were popular like between 2009 and 2012, like Yo Gabba Gabba and stuff like that, because of my kid. But yeah, Rafi's a big hole. I don't know, man. What didn't he look like a hippie? Wasn't that his deal? Wasn't he just like a hippie guy who like sang songs for kids? Seems nice. Whatever. There's a whole generation of millennials who love Rafi. I just missed it. It wasn't part of me. Born on this day in 1951, celebrating a birthday today, Anjelica Huston, American actress and director. Spending a whole bunch of stuff. Was the muse of Jack Nicholson for a period of time. Born on this day in 1958, Kevin Bacon, American actor and musician. Kevin Bacon draft! Yeah, we're going to do a Kevin Bacon draft once again. When a specific person piques my interest here, and they have a body of work, we like to go through it quickly and give you, in my estimation, what their best pieces of work are. All right, here we go. Kevin Bacon movie draft. These are my favorites. With the first pick in the Kevin Bacon movie draft, High Noon Show with Pugs Moran, hey, that's me, is going to select Diner. Diner is off the board. Barry Levinson's Diner is off the board. With the second pick in the Kevin Bacon draft, High Noon with myself, I'm going to go with Apollo 13. Apollo 13, Space Geek, already established that 5 minutes ago. Apollo 13. With the third pick in the Kevin Bacon draft, the High Noon stream here at Radio Misfits, select Sleepers. Brad Pitt. Oh, Sleepers was good. Kevin Bacon. If you haven't seen Sleepers, go back and watch Sleepers. Third pick. First pick was Diner. Second pick was Apollo 13. Third pick is Sleepers. In the fourth round of the Kevin Bacon draft, we here at High Noon are selecting Stir of Echoes. Stir of Echoes. A great, scary movie. Late 90s, maybe 2000. Stir of Echoes. Oh, I love Stir of Echoes. I hadn't seen any of the sequels. I guess there were a couple Stir of Echoes sequels. I don't care, but Stir of Echoes is good. And with the fifth pick in the Kevin Bacon draft, we here at High Noon are selecting A Few Good Men. A Few Good Men. That's right. That'll conclude our 5-round Kevin Bacon movie draft. Diner with the first pick. Apollo 13 with the second pick. Sleepers with the third pick. Stir of Echoes with the fourth pick, and A Few Good Men with the fifth pick. We are going to invite some undrafted free agents to camp. Did you think we were going to let Footloose just go out there on the open market? Footloose gets a camp invite. She's Having a Baby gets a camp invite. She's Having a Baby is a great underrated John Hughes movie that a lot of people didn't see at the time because John Hughes had been sort of pigeonholed as a teen movie maker, a guy who made movies for teens. And She's Having a Baby was one of John Hughes's first attempts to sort of age his audience with a young couple. Elizabeth McGovern and Kevin Bacon played a young couple having a baby. Very, very funny movie. John Hughes movie. So, it's going to be good. It's going to be quality. She's Having a Baby gets a camp invite. Animal House gets a camp invite. Yeah, he was Kevin Bacon was in Animal House. He was one of the guys in the Dick Frat. Thank You, Sir, May I Have Another, I believe is one of Kevin Bacon's famous lines from Animal House. Thank you, sir, may I have another? Also getting a camp invite. We're going to go with Mystic River, Murder in the First, and The River Wild. This concludes our tribute to Kevin Bacon. Also born on this day, Toby Keith. He'll kick your ass for not liking America. Born on this day in 1970, Beck. He's a loser. I love Beck, though. Beck is great. And born on this day in 1998, Jaden Smith. The son of... wait a second. He's a guy, right? Jaden Smith. I mean, I know there's another, but Jaden... man, these times we live in. Is Jaden Smith like gender fluid or what? That's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to get bogged down in it. Happy birthday, Jaden Smith. Jaden Smith, born on this day with a silver spoon in your mouth in 1998. People who died. These are the people who died. These are the people who died. These are the people who died on this day in 2011. Betty Ford, former First Lady of the United States, famous for the well, she's already famous for being the first lady, but she Betty Ford Center and started the rehabilitation. She was a drinker. I believe she was an alcoholic. And the Betty Ford Center, which bears her name to this day, has become sort of the leader, right? It's like the thing. Oh, they went to Betty Ford. If you've got an addiction issue or something like that, you go to Betty Ford. It's become almost like the Kleenex, like Kleenex is tissue. Right? And the tissue is what it is. The brand name is Kleenex. Rehabilitation centers are what they are, but Betty Ford is just a brand name. But Betty Ford has kind of become like, oh, he went to Betty Ford. Really? He went to Betty Ford? No, he went to the one down the street, the little local rehab place. We just call it Betty Ford. Dead on this day in 2015, one of my earliest and favoriteest 1970s football players, Kenny Stabler, died on this day in 2015. Quarterback for the... He played for anybody else other than the Raiders? I mean, I know he's most well-known. The Snake, Kenny Stabler. Kenny Stabler was a party guy, man. Kenny Stabler played like almost all of his games. Kenny Stabler never missed a Saturday night. And he was a hard drinker and a hard partier, which means that all of his NFL accomplishments were done while I'm sure he was a little bit hungover. Just a little bit hungover. And in many cases, as stories say, still drunk, still wasted. Drinking. Stories of him drinking Bloody Marys in the locker room while putting on his pads on a Sunday. Kenny Stabler, the Snake. He could play ball, though. He could ball out. All right, let's get into all of the topics and some of the things that are happening right now as I look and see that the world keeps rolling. Doesn't matter if we're streaming and I've prepared a show. There are still new things popping up. All right. Japanese Prime Minister Abe is trending. He died yesterday, late last night. Not late last night, probably 10 o'clock, I think, is when I first started seeing these things coming around. He is the longest serving prime minister in the history of Japan, having served 2 separate times. He was giving a speech. He was out campaigning for the... This is how strange it is. So the party that he heads in Japan, the political party, is the Liberal Democrats Party, right? That's what his party's called. But he's far right. It doesn't mean the same thing over there. It doesn't. He is a far right conservative leader. His ideology is very controversial. I mean, he believes in revisionist history and he believes in taking out all of, he doesn't want Japanese school children to learn about the war crimes and atrocities that Japan perpetrated during World War II. And you're like, oh, what do you mean war crimes and atrocities? Oh my God. If you think that it was all just on the Germans, if you think it was all just them doing horrible stuff, the Japanese did terrible things during World War II. Just off the top. Well, they did medical experiments. They did just like Mengele. The Japanese were doing medical experiments on prisoners and conquered peoples. Massacres. There are a number of well-documented, although hidden by history, massacres specifically against the Chinese people in conquered regions during World War II. They would just line up entire towns of people and just slaughter them all, women, children, old people, unarmed non-combatants, didn't matter. The Japanese army massacred people. And the most interesting one, the one that I always found interesting, comfort ladies. Do you know what comfort ladies are? The Japanese army had comfort ladies during World War II. What comfort ladies were is when the Japanese army would come into your town and conquer your town, they would enslave all your best looking women. They would go through and they would pick out all of the women of the new conquered peoples and they would sexually enslave them. And they were forced to follow marching with the army. And anytime a horny soldier wanted something, he was able to partake in comfort women. These are all war crimes. These are all things that the Japanese army did. So Shinzo Abe, he doesn't think that he doesn't believe those things happened. He gives speeches about how they didn't happen. He fought to have all of that history removed from Japanese school children textbooks. So, he believes in a whole bunch of other things. He's a pretty, but I thought that was interesting that his party is the Democratic Liberal Party of Japan, the DLP. And yet he's like, he's one of these, was one of these far-right guys. Terrifying new footage shows Shinzo Abe's bodyguards try to deflect assassins' bullets with briefcase. Now, there's video out there of this. You can see it if you want. I'm not going to show it. I hate putting that stuff out there. It's readily available. Let's see here. How did he die? He was out on the street. He was doing a street speech. This is a thing in Japan where they just kind of, they don't go to a banquet hall and stand up on stage like they do here and charge $1,000 a plate. Politicians and people who are advocates for people running for election, and there are elections on Sunday in Japan, they will go to the middle of a town and they will stand on a box and they'll just start talking and then the crowd show up. That's what he was doing. He was doing that yesterday and somebody walked up behind him or was standing behind them, as the video shows, and shot him with a homemade gun. A homemade shotgun. They showed a picture of this thing. I don't know if you saw it. It's like 2 pipes, it's a whole bunch of duct tape involved. And basically blew a hole right through him. Another interesting thing that I realized last night while watching the Japanese coverage of this. So they started to report almost immediately after he was rushed to the hospital. They started to report NTV, which is the national Japanese N, not M. NTV, Nippon Television, the international service of the Japanese media. They began reporting almost immediately that Abe had, and this is how they were phrasing it, had gone into cardiopulmonary arrest. And they reported that for hours and hours. And that is apparently code, or not code maybe because the Japanese people understand it, but that means the person is dead. That means when the Japanese media reports somebody as going into cardiopulmonary arrest, that means they're dead. But there's some law, there's some like weird media law that only a doctor can proclaim someone dead. So when the news media hears all of these reports, like from, the guy who brought him in, the ambulance driver or whatever, took him to the hospital. When a news media guy hears from that guy that, he's dead, he can't go on the air and say he's dead. He has to go on and say his heart and lungs don't work anymore. Because only a doctor by law in Japan is able to say that. So he was dead pretty much from the start, but it went on for a few hours until it was officially announced that he was dead. But everybody over there knew that he was. I tweeted yesterday, I thought this was hey, Grandpa, tell me how World War III started. This is this could be one of them linchpins. Let's see. What else do we know about Shinzo Abe? The gun laws in Japan are like super strict, and that's why the dude made his own gun. Let's see, what were the numbers? Oh, the numbers, they kept showing these numbers, and this was on Japanese TV because it's so rare that someone gets shot in Japan. From 2018 until today, there have only been 9 gun deaths in all of Japan. Compare that with America, we've got almost 4,000. So, but America's what? How much bigger than Japan is America? But still, Oh, okay. Look, I can't be making excuses for that. It's a pretty good discrepancy, but that's why the dude had to make his own gun, and he made his own gun. The assailant is a 40-something-year-old citizen of Nara prefecture, I guess is the way they say it, there in Japan. He is a former special services soldier, which means he's basically like a former Navy SEAL in the Japanese army. And he said that he hasn't given any real motive yet, but apparently he was not a fan of Shinzo Abe. So there you go. That's the big thing that's trending today. Former Japanese prime minister, and I say former because he's still a member of their Congress. It's just, it's a different thing than we have. When they stop being prime minister, which is like our president, when they stop being prime minister, they just get sucked right back into the machinery. They just get sucked right back into the system, and they retain their seats or wherever it is that they are. So he was still the leader of his party. He was just no longer the prime minister. What else do we know about him? Longest serving, we talked about that. Very, very pro-America. He's so pro-America that he was considered to be extraordinarily close to both Trump and Obama, and also Joe Biden. But they're talking about, just how his bottom line was that he wanted a tight, friendly, and basically he wanted to be on Team America, which is why all of our presidents, regardless of their political affiliation, have had good relations with Shinzo Abe. Trending also today, and this happened at the end of the show yesterday, we talked about it a little bit. Legendary American actor James Caan has passed away at the age of 82. I haven't seen a cause of death, but let's just guess 82. Let's just guess that has something to do with it. I want to talk about James Caan a little bit because I love James Caan. James Caan is now why. First of all, I love him as an actor. He's just such a great actor. I did a really bad James Caan draft at the end of the show yesterday, which I apologize for because I've had time to actually look at his filmography, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't a great draft that I should have done. He was a maniac, a Jewish kid born in Brooklyn, New York, who was big and muscular and leading man and scary. It played against all of the types of, what a Jewish actor could do in Hollywood. He was Sonny Corleone in The Godfather. We'll get into all that. But his personal life was crazy, man. He's a maniac. He's a total maniac. He liked blowing shit up. He was a rodeo cowboy. That was his hobby. His hobby was roping steers. A Jewish kid from New York turns into a world-class steer roper. He would travel in the 1970s between movies. He would travel to rodeos and participate in rodeo competitions, and he won. He won stuff. James Caan, he raced cars. He had a bedroom. He was one of only 3 people who had their own private designated bedroom at the Playboy Mansion. James Caan famously would flip through a Playboy magazine, pick up the phone, call Hef, and say, I want to go out with Miss December tonight. And Hef would go like, all right, come on over to the house, we'll take her out, and then your bedroom will be right. It's just crazy, this guy's life. Also, he was, how do I say this? He was of questionable character when it came to being a law-abiding citizen. James Caan had a couple of run-ins. Of course, he played Sonny Corleone in The Godfather, which made him a brother to the mob families of the world. But his best friend is it Jackie Russo? His best friend was the leader of the Colombo crime family. And when I say best friend, I'll put it to you this way. James Caan's son, Scott Caan, the actor, who you may know from, I guess he was in Entourage and stuff like that. James Caan's son, Scott Caan's godfather, is the boss of the Colombo crime family. So, there you have it. I'll put it to you this way. His brother who was his best friend, his brother once said about his James Caan, Ron Caan, or was it Ron Caan? Is that his name? Yeah, Ron Caan. Here it is. I have the quote. Ron Caan, James Caan's brother, once said, some people may think that my brother's just some faggy actor, People think Jimmy's all an act. I love my brother. He's my closest friend. But if he were anybody else, other than a rich movie star, he'd be locked up for life. My brother is not a man that you want to be at odds with. He can be a very dangerous man. Now, that's always been the rumor, the quiet rumor about James Caan. You cross James Caan, he had that sort of Sinatra vibe. But he was also heavily tied in with the Colombo crime family, which, by the way, if you watch, this could stem from making of The Godfather, because if you're familiar with the history of The Godfather, maybe you saw the recent miniseries The Offer, which was on Paramount Network, which was about the making of The Godfather. You know that the Colombo crime family were the ones that had the biggest problem with the making of The Godfather. And the producers and everybody who worked on The Godfather had to make nice back in 1970, whatever, with the Colombo crime family. So that turned into James Caan's best friend being the boss of the Colombo crime family. By the way, it should be mentioned that he was the boss in the 80s and the 90s. He's not alive anymore. What else do we have? James Caan in 1994 was arrested by LAPD for basically turning a gangster rapper into his bitch, which apparently there was a altercation over a parking spot somewhere in LA, and a gangster rapper who, I don't have his name. I don't know. Doc something. Doc something was the guy's name. It was an argument over a parking spot somewhere. And this gangster rapper ran up to James Caan demanding that he move his car. And the gangster rapper was being intimidating. He saw this man who probably at the time was 20, 62, late 50s, in James Caan, white man in a nice car. And, this early 90s LA scene gangster rapper charges up on him. And James Caan pulled a gun from his back, put it to the guy's head, and basically made him get down on his knees and beg for his life. Now, when I say he made him his bitch, because James Caan then just put the gun away and went into wherever he was going, leaving his car, not even worried about the guy damaging his car, because the guy didn't. The gangster rapper immediately went to the police and filed charges and said that. So that's a thing. That's he also, a friend of his, this was another incident that he was questioned about. A friend of his, who was a business partner in a venture that had gone belly up, mysteriously died of a broken neck after falling down the steps at James Caan's house. The police were like, James, you guys were suing each other. What was he doing at your house? I invited him over. He came over. Hey, he slipped and fell. He slipped and fell down the steps. Anyway, that's James Caan. James Caan was a very complicated, seriously fascinating, and just a fun guy. All right, so here's what we are going to do, though, in honor of James Caan, because I do love his movies. James Caan. By the way, James Caan recently, towards the end of his life, big Trump supporter, loved all the MAGA stuff, was just like crazy for it, and said that he watches no TV. The only TV he watches is Fox News. James Caan is a funny character. Yeah, probably a criminal, has probably murdered people, got away with some stuff. But man, the stories that surround James Caan's life, years ago, we're going back now like 25 years. I read a bio on James Caan, like in the late 1990s. And even that bio was fascinating. I can only imagine the kind of nonsense he got into as an old man. James Caan draft! That's right, we're going to do an official James Caan draft. Yesterday, I just rattled off a couple of my favorite movies, but I forgot a bunch of them. With the first round, with the first pick of the James Caan draft, I select the greatest sports movie ever made. Brian Song. That's right. James Caan played Brian Piccolo in the film Brian Song. You cried, admit it. Every guy cries in Brian Song. With the second pick in the James Caan film draft, I'm taking The Godfather. That's right, Sonny Corleone. If he hadn't done Brian Song, it would be a no-brainer, but Brian Song is such a good role. Brian Song. Godfather, Sonny Corleone, the toll booth scene. That's all I'll say. Or the scene where he tunes up his brother-in-law for beating his wife. That's awesome. That's that scene in The Godfather where he beats the hell out of his brother-in-law because Sonny's sister says, "He's beaten me, Sonny. He's beaten me." And then Sonny Corleone goes over to the brother-in-law and just whips his ass right there on the street in front of everybody, beats him with a garbage can lid. Oh, with the third pick in the James Caan draft, I'm going with Thief. Thief is such a good movie. Thief is a Michael Mann film. It's one of Michael Mann's earliest films. Thief, James Caan portrays a career high-stakes thief, jewel thief. He'll thief anything. Anything that he can thief, he'll thief. He'll thief this, he'll thief that. It doesn't matter. And he takes it to the mob and they fence it. It's just about the life of a thief, and James Caan plays it incredibly well. What a cool movie, man. If you're a Michael Mann fan, and I am, whether you like The Manhunter, whether you're just a fan of his Miami Vice stuff, what else? Heat, if you like Heat, that kind of stuff. Same vibes with Thief. If you've never seen Thief, Thief is so good. And it's the first time I ever saw Jim Belushi in anything, and Jim Belushi was funny. This is before Saturday Night Live. Before Saturday Night Live, Jim Belushi got a big role in this. Let's go. What else do we have? So Brian's song with the first pick, Godfather with the second pick, Thief with the third pick. With the fourth pick in the James Caan draft, The Program. The Program. The college football movie from the mid-90s about the corruption that is just everywhere in college football. The Program. James Caan, fourth pick. I'm also going to go with now in the fifth pick, the final pick of the draft, we're going with Countdown. Countdown. Have you ever seen Countdown? One of the great underrated space movies of all time. James Caan plays a civilian who is forced to go to the moon because they're trying to beat the Russians and they want to send a civilian first. And all the problems that they have. Great ending, though. Great ending of Countdown. If you know Countdown, that beacon, the ending of Countdown is fantastic. All right, that's your James Caan draft. Brian's song, Godfather, Thief, The Program, and Countdown. But again, of course, we're bringing in undrafted free agents to camp. We're going to bring in Elf, James Caan and Elf, as Will Ferrell's put-upon dad who can't believe what a weirdo his elf son has turned into. How about Rollerball? Rollerball. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Rollerball. Rollerball is about James Caan playing an aging superstar in a futuristic sport. The future of this movie, actually, it's funny. Rollerball is probably set in like the far off future of 2010. It's so long ago now. And, I don't know. I don't know what year Rollerball is set. Actually, that's a good question. What year is Rollerball set? Rollerball is awesome. Actually, I haven't seen Rollerball since I'm like 12 years old. Maybe it sucks, but I don't know. I probably saw it 10 times between 8 and 12. Loved it. 8 to 12-year-old me loved Rollerball. In what year was the film Rollerball set? See if Google has an answer. No, I don't want the release date. Rollerball was released on 75. 1975. All right. Let me see. All right, let's see what year it's set in. This is just for my own. I'm just interested. Okay, plot. I was right. Here's the plot of Rollerball. In 2018, Jonathan E. is the team captain and veteran star of the Houston Rollerball team. Mr. Bartholomew, chairman of the Energy Corporation and team sponsor, offers Jonathan a lavish retirement package if Jonathan will announce his retirement during an upcoming television special detailing his career. Jonathan refuses and requests to see his former wife, Ella, who's been taken from him some years earlier by a corporate executive who wanted her for himself. Boy, they really had a dark view of the not too distant future, right? Rollerball soon degrades into senseless violence as the rules are changed to force Jonathan out. Anyway, Rollerball's a great movie. 2018, set in 2018. So according to filmmakers in 1975, by 2018, we'd be living in an uber-violent, dystopian-like society. They weren't that wrong. Okay. What else? Who else are we inviting to camp? So the undrafted movies of James Caan that we're going to bring into camp. Elf, Rollerball. You guys, Honeymoon in Vegas. Did we forget about Honeymoon in Vegas? Honeymoon in Vegas is a great movie. That's Sarah Jessica Parker and Nick Cage are a young couple who go to Vegas, and James Caan is like the rich wheeler dealer who decides that he wants Sarah Jessica Parker all to himself. And it's a crazy movie. Honeymoon in Vegas is such a fun movie. Also getting a camp invite, Misery. Mr. Man, Misery's so good. James Caan as the author who has his legs hobbled so that his number one fan, I'm your number one fan, his number one fan can take care of him. Ooh. Also getting a camp invite, A Bridge Too Far, great movie. And we're also going to bring in Freebie and the Bean. So there you go. This concludes our tribute to the life's work of James Caan. First pick in the draft, Brian Song. Second pick in the draft, Godfather. Third pick in the draft, Thief. Fourth, The Program. Fifth, Countdown. And camp invites to Elf, Rollerball, Honeymoon in Vegas, Misery, A Bridge Too Far, and Freebie and the Bean. Also, here are some fun things. James Caan turned down. The roles that James Caan turned down. Absolutely stunning. Here, I'll give you these. He turned down the lead role in Robert Altman's MASH. So who was the lead role? Elliot Gould. He would have been Elliot Gould's character, I guess, in the film version of MASH, which would become the TV show. The French Connection. He turned down Gene Hackman's role in The French Connection. They wanted James Caan. James, we want you to be Popeye Doyle. No, I can't. I have the Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman's career was made because James Caan refused to do that movie. How about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? That's right. James Caan was the first choice to play Ripley, a role that went to Jack Nicholson, a role that also made Jack Nicholson's career. But did it? No, he had been an easy rider. Jack Nicholson was already a big star. He had already done things. But there you go. So he turned down MASH. He turned down The French Connection. He turned down One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He turned down Richard Dreyfuss's role in Close Encounters of the Third Time. He turned down Dustin Hoffman's role in Kramer versus Kramer, saying that it was just so much middle-class bourgeois baloney. Didn't like it. He turned down Martin Sheen's role in Apocalypse Now. These are all roles that James Caan was like, nah. James Caan turned down Apocalypse role because, he was very close with Francis Ford Coppola, who had done The Godfather. When Francis Ford Coppola started to put Apocalypse Now together, he came to James and said, look, I really want you to play this character, the captain. And he was like, oh, yeah, that sounds great. Me and Marlon together again? I'll work with Marlon. And then Francis Ford Coppola said, yeah, but we're going to shoot 16 weeks in the jungle in the Philippines. And James Caan was like, I'm out. That's too far from the Playboy Mansion. I am out. I want nothing to do with that. So he turned that one down. And he also turned down Blade Runner, the Harrison Ford role in Blade Runner. He turned down the Ryan O'Neal role in Love Story. I mean, all of these movies are classic films, and you can't imagine anybody other than the actors who played these roles playing the role. But James Caan could have been in all of these. And finally, here's the craziest one with a typical James Caan quote attached to it. James Caan was the first choice to play Superman, the role that originally went to Christopher Reeve. And James Caan turned down the role of Superman because he thought the cape made him look faggy. Come on, he's an old guy. Yeah, I don't want to be Superman. That cape makes me look faggy. All right, there you have it. James Caan, certainly not a perfect individual, but a fascinating one. A guy with a whole lot of moving parts. Complicated guy. Rodeo champion. Also, he's like multiple black belts. He's like a 5th degree Dan in some kind of karate. Also a boxer as a young man. You're not a man to be trifled with. And don't forget, a lot of people say, of course, the rules of he's Jewish, so he can't be. What is the rule? He would be a friend of ours. He couldn't be a made guy because he was Jewish, regardless of the fact that his best friend was the head of the Colombo family. But he was basically as made a man in Hollywood as the mafia has ever planted. He would have been referred to in the mafia parlance as a friend of ours. No, No, Joe. What's the difference? What is that good fellow? It's a friend of ours versus a friend of mine, right? A friend of ours means that you're a made guy, right? And I want to introduce you to a friend of ours. Wink, wink. He knows our thing. So that would mean that he's a made guy in another family, which means he can be trusted. But if he was introduced as he's a friend of mine, that means the individual who is introducing him is now taking responsibility for whatever this guy, if the guy turns out to be a stool pigeon or whatever, he's a friend of mine, as opposed to a friend of ours means we can all trust him. Don't worry, he's been vetted by other people. Anyway, that's probably kind of the area James Caan operated in as far as a Hollywood actor. Tijuana is trending. Tijuana, I've never been to Tijuana. You hear all the Tijuana's not a Mexico thing, right? Tijuana's a California thing. It's like California kids, they all go to, it's on the Baja side, right? Isn't that? Yeah, it is. I don't know. I have no idea. Travel warnings have now been issued for Tijuana. This is not a rare thing. There are travel warnings for Tijuana all the time, but they're worried about Americans being kidnapped or caught up in cartel violence. The U.S. Embassy has issued a travel warning for Tijuana in Baja California due to risk of kidnappings, injury, and or death. The July 4th warning came out, I guess, on the 4th of July. The July 4th warning states that there is the potential for confrontations between criminal organizations and Mexican security forces in Baja California following the July 2nd arrest of prominent cartel leaders around the country. U.S. citizens should expect to encounter increased Mexican law enforcement presence in those areas. Criminal organization assassinations and territorial disputes can result in bystanders being injured or killed. This is all according to the travel advisory. All right, so there you go. This is really going to affect the economy of the donkey show world. If you had plans to get yourself down to Mexico, down to Tijuana this weekend, maybe take in a donkey show or something like that, U.S. government says you're there at your own risk. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Greg Abbott is trending. Abbott is trending nationally because of, I don't know, it's got to have something to do with the border. Let's click on this. Let's see what he's doing now. What crazy thing is old Wheels of Steel's getting himself involved in now? What are people saying? Why is he trending? Okay. Abbott tests feds by urging Texas troopers to return migrants to the border. I notice we're using the word migrants now. Don't we kind of need migrants? Don't we? Right? Didn't we used to call them illegals? And I guess there are a number of illegal migrants, but I don't want to get into it. I don't know. I thought we were trying to stop drugs and killers from getting in, not dudes from picking our apples. I don't get it. Is it just about where they're from? Is it just like a xenophobic thing? Because Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered state and National Guard soldiers and law enforcement officers on Thursdays to apprehend and return migrants suspected of crossing illegally back to the United States-Mexico border. This will be testing how far his state can go in trying to enforce immigration law. The order comes days after a group of right-wing Texas officials, alongside a few former Trump administration leaders and U.S. Representative Chip Roy, asked the Republican Governor Abbott to invoke the state and U.S. constitutions in declaring an invasion at the southwest border and to use his powers to repel it. The leaders of the sparsely populated counties near the border with Mexico complain that they have been overrun by smuggling attempts and increasing numbers of migrants evading detection. The order appears to be unconstitutional, legal experts said, and may have little practical impact on Abbott's ongoing expensive and controversial border security initiatives. All right, there you have it. That's why our governor is trending. He's doing what he can to get votes in November. Vince McMahon is trending. We've been covering the Vince McMahon story for a couple of weeks now. He's got himself in some hot water for being a bit of a perv, bit of a guy who likes to, have cheat on his wife with office workers, hot, sexy. I imagine when you walk in, did I tell you, I've been rewatching Entourage. And one of the things about Entourage that I like is every time they walk into an office, Every single woman in the office is like a ridiculous 10. Unbelievable the amount of background extras in the show Entourage who are just the hottest girls in their high school. Every single one of them from every high school around the country. Let's get them and let's fill up background scenes in Entourage. Kind of the way the Love Boat used to do that too. The Love Boat always had. But that's what I imagine Vince McMahon's offices to be like. I imagine you walk in and it is just like, a bunch of like Fox News reporter looking women, just like smoke show looking women everywhere. And he couldn't control himself. So Vince McMahon apparently was having a whole bunch of affairs. There is now an investigation into whether or not he used company money to pay off these people. And that's why he's trending. He's trending because it's been determined that Vince McMahon former WWE CEO, and he stepped down as the CEO. Former WWE CEO Vince McMahon paid more than $12 million to 4 women to suppress sexual misconduct allegations. All right, so hey, gotcha. I mean, that's what this is. This is a gotcha. He paid 4 women that he had sex with $12 million to keep their mouth shut about him having sex with them. Now, I do understand the legality of it if he was taking this money from the corporate accounts and spending shareholder dollars on paying off his girls. But if that's not the case, if this is really his $12 million, then there's no harm, no foul here. I'm sorry. I do not see any issue whatsoever if you have a sexual relationship with somebody. The accusations aren't that he was raping them or forcing them to have sex. I suppose you can make an argument that, well, he's in a position of power, and when he tells the secretary that he wants to have sex with her, she has to say yes or she loses her job. I don't buy that. What I think is happening here is a guy who was married to another woman was having illicit affairs with other grown adult women. And in order to make sure that he didn't get in trouble from his wife, he paid them. It's a business arrangement. It's 2 grown adults coming to an understanding. Money is exchanged. I don't understand the problem with this. Is it seedy? You're damn right, but it's Vince McMahon. You can't look at Vince McMahon and go, that guy's kind of sleazy. I mean, it's obvious to me, right? But I don't know if there's anything illegal about it. I don't know that the guy should lose everything over it. Look, if one of his former women that he had an affair with was like, I don't want to do this, and he's like, put a gun to her head, and he's like, you sign this, then we got a problem. But we're talking about women who got paid well to just not rat him out to his wife. Is anybody shocked to learn that Vince McMahon cheats on his wife? Look at him again. I'm getting so upset with my fellow American citizens who just a few years ago, I thought that we were all, I thought the whole, there's a sucker born every minute quote by P.T. Barnum was a little bit overstated. But the collective we as a people, we have a real hard time being able to spot a con. We can't. We have a difficult time. Maybe it's why so many used car dealerships, sell shit cars to people because we get sold on this stuff. Vince McMahon is a used car dealer. If you can't look at Vince McMahon with his spray tans and his suits and his steroids and his I'm 90 years old, but look at me, I'm still trying to be 40. If you can't look at a guy like Vince McMahon and go, I'm not loaning that dude money, then, I got nothing for you. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I see someone like Vince McMahon walks into my life and I immediately go, this guy cannot be trusted. Let's take this ride because he seems driven and he might be successful, but let's not get too close. Vince McMahon, the longtime CEO of WWE, who stepped down in June, paid 4 women at least $12 million over the past 16 years to hide numerous allegations of affairs and sexual misconduct. Okay, but what is the sexual misconduct? Is it that he shouldn't be having sex with people in the office? Or was he holding people down? See, these are the details that I need because my opinion on this can change on a dime if it turns out that he was borderline raping people. McMahon was also being investigated by the WWE's board after it was discovered in April that he paid $3 million to cover up affairs with former employees. This new report indicates that McMahon covered up even more. A $7.5 million payment in 2018 to a former wrestler who alleged McMahon coerced her into giving him oral sex and then demoted her. Here we go. All right, turning on that dime. Turn it on. All right, now we're starting to get the details. All right, so it looks like he was putting pressure on his subordinates to have sex with him. But again, I look at Vince McMahon and I go, yeah, duh. You're a hot 18-year-old girl, and suddenly Vince McMahon, the guy who's running the WWE, is calling you into his office. He's taking an interest in you. What do you think that's about, stupid? What do you think? Do you think that's about because he really does see something in you? Or do you think creepy old Vince McMahon likes 18-year-old pretty girls? The board is also investigating a $1.5 million non-disclosure agreement from 2012 between a paralegal at WWE and her relationship with WWE executive John Laurinaitis. I imagine that there's all kinds of shady stuff that's going on. Shady guys stuff, like Mad Men type behavior. I imagine the Vince McMahon office orbit is still engaging in some form of Mad Men-esque behavior. Jobs is trending. I do apologize. I told you I'm getting one of these summer colds. My throat is starting to go. Again, this is not a flu. This is not coronavirus. These are not my allergies. Just a little air conditioning, swimming pool, lake, 105 degrees, air conditioning, pool. I'm just getting a little bit of a thing going. I'll be fine, but my voice sounds weird. Jobs are trending. The new jobs numbers for the month came out. And apparently they're good. I don't know what this stuff means, right? What's the rule? What is the rule that we follow? If numbers are released and they make the guy we like look good, then we believe him, right? But if the numbers are released and they make the guy we don't like look good, then it's all a fix, right? Isn't that how we're doing it now? All right, which is why we're going to move on because I don't give a shit. Herschel Walker is trending. Oh, poor Herschel. Hell of a football player. They thought he was retarded, though. They like his life story. If you know the life story of Herschel Walker, he was such a dimwit that they thought he was retarded for a long time. But he was really good at football, so they just kept letting him go and kept letting him pass and kept elevating him. And, that's not true. Herschel Walker said that he graduated in the top 1% of his class from Georgia. Yeah, I know he said that, and that's kind of the problem. And that's kind of why Herschel Walker is trending. He's just lying about everything. Herschel Walker is just making shit up. He's going up on stage and he's telling people we want Herschel to be our senator. He's telling people the most ridiculous lies. The latest one here, and this is some issues. He's got a bunch of kids now that he lied about having, that he never sees. He's the kind of man who has a son who he doesn't even know because he didn't want to take responsibility for it and he just moved on. Herschel Walker lied to his own campaign about all of his secret children. All of his secret children. It isn't hard to figure out what drew Donald Trump to Herschel Walker. The Heisman Trophy winner, like the former president who endorsed him for Senate in Georgia, is a habitual liar. Okay, this is from Yahoo Entertainment. That's a bit of a, all right. I mean, I guess we know the attitude of the person writing this, so let's just try and weed through that nonsense and get to the facts. It's been revealed, this is a fact, this was revealed. It's been revealed just in the past few months that Walker has lied about his academic record, that he's lied about his business record, even that he has a secret son that he doesn't see. So we knew about the secret son that came out a few months ago. He's got a fully grown secret son that he has nothing to do with. He denies his existence. His own campaign was like, okay, so this is your only son. By the way, we know Herschel Walker's son. The one that he does claim is that obnoxious fool, the YouTuber, who's just like one of the most horrid people you've ever seen. Go look up Herschel Walker's son. And you'll get this like complete piece of trash rich kid that thinks that he's somehow better than all of us. It's been revealed just a few in the past few months that Herschel Walker has lied about his academic record, his business record, and even that he has a secret son that he doesn't see. It was then revealed a few weeks ago that he has two more secret children. The Daily Beast reported on yesterday, that Walker has been lying to his own campaign about all of these children. The news of Walker's first secret son may have been reported last month, but his campaign obtained documents proving he also has a 10-year-old son. The campaign didn't tell him about the documentation they'd obtained when they asked him the rumors last December. This according to the Beast. Walker lied to them, saying that these rumors were false, just as his campaign expected they were. He only admitted to the secret child after they presented him with the documentation. Once news of the child became public, his campaign asked him if there were any other children. He insisted that there wasn't. The existence of the two other secret children was reported days later. Walker's attempt to hide the truth from his own campaign came in communications obtained by the Daily Beast, which also spoke to a campaign advisor who said Walker lies like he's breathing. That's a Herschel Walker campaign advisor saying this. Walker lies like he's breathing. We don't know what's true anymore with him. And aides have zero trust in anything he says. Now, again, he's got spare kids. Gotcha. You don't know what these gotcha things. But for me, that's not what it's about. For me, it's about a grown man who has a child that he brought into the world that he has no interest in having any kind of relationship or knowledge of. To me, that says a whole lot about who you are. Look, you tell me he's got secret kids and he's been keeping them secret and he doesn't tell people about them, but he has a relationship and he's there for them and he loves them and he cares about them. Then I go, okay, that I can understand. There are moving parts to this whole situation. There are reasons why he doesn't make it public, but at least he has that fatherly sort of connection to his offspring that he needs to be in their life. No, that ain't the case. Herschel Walker's just like, kids. I don't have kids. I don't need no kid. I can't wrap my mind around the character of the individual that could behave that way. But apparently it happens a lot, and there are a lot of people who have that level of character or lack of character. What else is happening here? Sunday Ticket is trending. Why is the Sunday Ticket trending? You got the Sunday Ticket. Isn't that like the only reason most people have DirecTV? Right? I mean, most people, everybody I know who has DirecTV because of the NFL Sunday Ticket. It's how I watch my out-of-market games. Sunday Ticket has been on DirecTV now for years and years. So much so that I just thought it was a DirecTV thing, but no, it's not. It's actually a property of the NFL, and Sunday Ticket may be on the move. That's right. You find out where DirecTV is heading before you sign up for another year or so of the DirecTV, because it might be moving to a streaming service. This comes from directly the NFL commissioner. The NFL's venerable Sunday Ticket package is poised to jump from satellite to streaming. I clearly believe that we'll be moving to a streaming service, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said during an interview Friday morning with CNBC. An overt nod by the league to long simmering conversations about the next step for the package, which has been held for years by DirecTV and broadcast regular season games that aren't available on local stations. The main customer for the Sunday Ticket on DirecTV has long thought to be the fan of a particular team who doesn't live in its primary media market. That's me. That's why I watch DirecTV. That's why I Sunday Ticket. Because I live in Dallas and I need to watch Chicago Bear games. And I don't get all the Chicago, but with DirecTV I do. Recent speculation has held that Disney, Apple, or Amazon could be interested in the Sunday Ticket rights. Disney operates ESPN and the streaming service ESPN+. Amazon has developed tighter relations with the NFL through its streamcasts of Thursday Night Football, a program it will have sole rights over come this fall. And Apple has in recent weeks shown new interest in sports, securing deals for Friday night Major League Baseball games and broad Major League Soccer package. I don't know what that means. Sunday Ticket is the only unsecured piece of the NFL rights portfolio. The league signed a massive deal with Disney, Fox, Paramount Global, NBC Universal, and Amazon in March of last year that kept the bulk of its games under the purview of traditional media players through 2033. Under the structure of the packs, Amazon took control over Thursday Night Football. And Disney was placed in the rotation of networks that'll get a Super Bowl. During the interview, Goodell suggested that streaming would make Sunday ticket games more widely available rather than just for DirecTV subscribers. That is absolutely true. That is absolutely true. Right now, the NFL, right now, DirecTV needs the NFL Sunday ticket far more than the NFL Sunday ticket needs DirecTV. The NFL Sunday ticket would be seen and probably subscribed to by far more people if it was just something that was available to stream. If it was something that was on one of the, Hulu or Amazon or something like this. Because the way it stands now, you have to get an entire satellite system, and a guy has to come out and he has to go on your roof and he's got to build something. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. It's a whole thing. But if it was to switch over to Apple, you just download the Apple app onto your phone, and now suddenly you're watching, the Sunday ticket. That's why the football heads are just there. Oh, they're clutching their pearls over what this could mean. Morton's is trending. Do you like Morton's? I love Morton's. Morton's, the steakhouse. I'm a big fan of Morton's. Morton's is trending because apparently last night, one of the Supreme Court justices, Brett Kavanaugh, he was there having dinner at Morton's. Fancy dancy rich people steakhouse. Man, I like Morton's. I want a steak. And I want prime rib. I want prime rib tonight. Can't afford it though. Probably just eat a turkey sandwich. And it'll be good too. Hey, I'm comfortable with my lot in life. Morton's is trending because Morton's condones abortion rights protesters for disrupting. Did I say condones? Morton's condemns abortion rights protesters for disrupting Brett Kavanaugh's freedom to eat dinner. So he was having dinner last night at the Morton's in Washington, D.C., and a bunch of those protesters that we're seeing now, they're like, hey, it's Justice Kavanaugh having dinner. And they get in there and they're like, you suck, you suck, you suck. And then they got to be escorted out and the police get called. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, one of the conservative justices who voted to overturn Roe versus Wade last month, was forced to exit through a back door of Morton's Steakhouse in downtown Washington by protesters who had learned he was there. Protesters gathered outside the steakhouse on Wednesday night upon learning that Kavanaugh was inside and called the restaurant manager demanding that the justice be kicked out. This according to Politico's Daniel Lippman. I'm not going to kick a dude out. It's not what they do. Morton's condemned the actions of the protesters, writing to Politico, this is Morton's, Honorable Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh and all of our other patrons at the restaurant were unduly harassed by an unruly protester while eating dinner at our Morton's restaurant. Politics, regardless of your side or views, should not trample the freedom at play of the right to congregate and eat dinner, the statement continued. There is a time and a place for everything. Disturbing the dinner of all of our customers was an act of selfishness and void of decency. Oh, boy. All right. Morton's doesn't have to say anything, but they definitely poking the bear there. I don't know. I think you see somebody who is in a position of power, whether they're a legislator, I don't care if they're a member of the Supreme Court. I don't care if it's O.J. Simpson. You suck. We're allowed to do that. We're allowed to do that. I mean, I do get that it's very performative to find somebody in a public place and then descend upon them with cat calls and you sucks and all that kind of stuff. I get that that's a big show, but when Morton says there's a time and a place, yeah, the time is when it's available, and it was available here because the time to harass Brett Kavanaugh by these people who have issues with some of his decisions. The time to harass him probably isn't when he's on the bench because there's security and they can't get it. The time to harass somebody who is legislating or enacting things that you feel are bad and you want to use your First Amendment right to free speech to tell this person to speak truth to power, if you will. The time is when they're available, when you get the shot. So, I don't know about the whole time and a place argument. It seems like catching somebody like that out in public having dinner, that would be the time, and the place. You got him here. You can't go to his house. Can't knock on his back door. He lets you in and you have a cup of lemonade on the back porch there. That's not going to happen. So, but whatever. I do like that, though. I do. I don't have a problem with it. When O.J. Simpson walks into a restaurant and everybody starts booing. I love that stuff. That's, come on, we got to come together in some way. Bunch of rich people. And that's the other thing. They disrupted the dinner at Morton's. They destroyed dinner for all of these No, they didn't. Again, this is like the people who paid to go watch Siegfried and Roy during the show where the tiger ate Roy, right? Those people did not deserve their money back. Those people got the show of a lifetime. If you don't think watching a tiger kill a man on stage is worth your price of admission, if you think somehow that's not the show I paid for, no, you got something much more. You were at the last Siegfried and Roy show. You were at the show where it didn't work, because that was the whole point with Siegfried and Roy. You go to see that because you shouldn't be that close to a tiger. You shouldn't. Something should go wrong, right? This is not normal. And then, for 1,000 shows in a row, everything goes fine. And people are like, but still, the draw to seeing Siegfried and Roy is that they've got these wild animals. And that shouldn't be the case, because these wild animals could kill them. These people went to the actual Siegfried and Roy show where the animal, went after the guy. That's, I want my money back. That wasn't the show. I didn't get to see the lion bouncing a ball on his nose. Shut up. You saw something different. You got a story for life. You were at the most significant Siegfried and Roy show of all time. No, we're not giving you your money back. You got a show. Sorry if it wasn't to your liking. You got a show. That's what it's like for the people who were dining at Morton's last night. Morton's. Our customers' dinners were ruined. No, it was. It was just another. People who go to Morton's, they go to places like that all the time. They go out to dinner all the time, and there's never anything eventful. There's not even any reason to particularly remember that dinner last night. There is now. Those people got a floor show. Those people who are at Morton's cutting into their $100 steaks, eating, who had to pause for a minute to watch the little hubbub that was occurring around Brett Kavanaugh's table, they got a show. Stop apologizing. Stop acting like now they're all traumatized. Morton's has made therapists available for any of our customers who feel that they need to talk about what they witnessed. Stop it. Stop it. DoorDash is trending. DoorDash is trending. This is, did you see this? This happened last night. It was all over the social medias last night. Apparently there was a glitch in the DoorDash app that for a period of time last night allowed everyone on the DoorDash app to purchase stuff without paying for it. Orders were going through last night on DoorDash for orders where people weren't even being asked to enter in any kind of credit card or anything like that. Just you went to DoorDash, you ordered your food, you put your address in, you click send, and boom, there it comes. However, a little bit more. This is a very disturbing story. I don't like this story. DoorDash glitch briefly allowed orders of free food, tequila, and contraceptives to users. DoorDash customers were celebrating on Thursday after discovering a glitch that allowed them to get their purchases for free. This according to a flood of social media posts. Customers boasted about ordering free food, pricey tequila, and even contraceptives. Some posted screenshots of extravagant orders in the thousands of dollars. One man tweeted images of dozens of stratospherically priced tequilas that he says he had ordered during the glitch. Those included orders of Casamigos Rasposado and Don Julio Reposado, worth over $1,600 and $2,000 respectively. Others posted memes making fun of those who made large purchases without paying, predicting that the company would seek to have those payments fulfilled. One Twitter user commented, "Careful now, people. DoorDash is out for blood." So, all right, so here's what happened. So word got around that if you go on DoorDash, you can order stuff and you don't have to pay for it. DoorDash is saying that, they may have taken a loss on some food and stuff like that, but they will seek to recoup those payments from the people who didn't have to put their cards in. And the bigger orders, those are just all going to be canceled. They just canceled them all before they went out. But the more important thing is all the people, and I saw all the people celebrating. Yeah. Oh, I got this. Go to DoorDash now. You get all your stuff for free. And I mean, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. It's just you're a piece of shit person. You're stealing. You are stealing. You're not getting away. What? Stealing ain't stealing if you get away with it? Is that kind of the attitude that people? That's depressing to think that so many people are just so good. Found money. Screw them. Screw the other guy. I don't know. I mean, first of all, if I was on DoorDash and my order went through and I didn't put a card in, I would fully expect that at some point I'm going to get hit up for that money. And then what are you going to do? No, I'm not giving you the money. Well, now you really are just a thief. So I don't know. Fun stuff. DoorDash. All right. That's going to do it for all the stuff that I had prepared. Let's jump in and see what has been trending since I signed on the show today. See if there's anything new that we need to get into. Sunday Ticket is trending. What is this? Why is Larry Storch trending? Oh, because he died. Larry Storch? Larry Storch is dead? Larry Storch from F Troop. Oh, God, how old am I? F Troop is like way too old for me to even know. That's why I thought this guy was dead. 99 years old. F Troop actor Larry Storch dies at 99 years old. All right, that's happening right now. Let's see what other stuff is trending. Sunday Ticket. Sunday Ticket is now up to number 1 on Twitter. It's trending. What else do we have here? Morton's is still trending. Vince McMahon is still trending. Give me something new. Japan, of course. We're going to have Japan trending for a while. Ron Burgundy. Of course, Will Ferrell's character from Anchorman. Ron Burgundy is trending. Some are making references to Ron Burgundy, a character from the Anchorman film series who notoriously reads anything off a teleprompter after President Biden said, "Repeat line," during a speech on Friday. What did he read? He read the stage cues, thought that they were part of the actual text he was supposed to be speaking on. Larry Storch is trending. We just talked about that. Sierra is trending. She's got a new album, Jump. Apparently it's a new track. Sierra's new track, Jump, is here. Jen Ellis, don't want to do that. DoorDash is trending. Again, Sunday Ticket again. Wisconsin Supreme Court. What did they do? What did this Wisconsin Supreme Court do? Wisconsin Supreme Court ruled that absentee ballot drop boxes may be placed only in election offices. The court did not address whether anyone other than the voter can return his or her own ballot by mail. That's the problem. The issue is people dropping off ballots for other people, which should be allowed, because just because you're bedridden doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to get a vote, right? You should be able to absentee ballot. Let's say you're bedridden. Let's say you're in hospice or something. You should still be able to vote. Why should they be able to vote if they're going to die? Because maybe they don't die. Maybe they survive. You are still alive. You are still an American citizen. You're bedridden. You vote absentee. And you got to have your little nephew drop it off or whatever. So that was the issue that they were trying to stop, but they didn't rule on that in Wisconsin. They want you to be able to, they want to force you, or there are people out there who want to force people who vote absentee to have to drop it off themselves, which is madness. It's like, hi, yeah, I'm an American citizen who's living in Japan for 6 months for work, and I want to vote in the election. Well, you got to fly home. You can vote absentee, but you still got to, what's the point? What's the whole point of the absentee vote? I don't know. That's why Wisconsin Supreme Court is trending, because they now say that the drop boxes can only be inside election offices. That's fine. They got to be somewhere. You want to just say that that's where they are, that's fine. But don't tell me that the person who's voting absentee has to be the one to drop it in the box, because that you miss the point of being an absentee voter. It means you're not there. It means you don't have access. It means somebody else has to drop it, either by mail or you send it to your cousin or whatever. Let's see what else. Ivanka is trending. Ivanka tweeted something out about Shinzo Abe. People are tearing her down about it because that's what they do. All right, that's it. That's going to do it. That's today's show. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Once again, I'd like to remind you, if at all possible, support the show. we do offer you the opportunity to drop a tip into either the Cash App there at the bottom of the screen, the Venmo, the PayPal, whatever it is, any kind of a tip. Treat me like your bartender, your barista, your what do we say, car valet, whatever it is, the persons or people's that you tip. Help us continue the show going. We appreciate it. Again, we're going to do the show anyway. We're going to muscle through. It's just that your kindness and gratuities do go a long way to ensure that we do a less stress-filled show. I don't know what's happening this weekend. I'm my kid's going back today for a few days because he gets to stay with at his house, his other house, with his mom and his stepdad. I've got a cold. I do not believe that I'll be going out to the lake this weekend. I think I'm just going to hold up. It's going to be 100 and 105. What is it right now? As we do the show here from North Texas. Let's see what time it is. Currently. Okay. At 1:40 p.m., it is 104 degrees outside. Oh, you notice I'm wearing a sweater. It's because in here in the guest house, the Comfort Nest Lounge, if you will, it's like 50 degrees because the air conditioning just kicks ass in here. Now look at that. Oh, no, 103. Now it's 103 outside. Went down a little bit. How high is it going to go? 2 p.m., 104. 3 p.m., 105. 4 p.m., 105. 5 p.m., 105. 6 p.m., 104. 7 p.m., 102. 8 p.m., 100. What's it going to be at midnight? It's going to be 96 degrees at midnight tonight. Bring it, Texas heat. We don't care. We can handle it. We'll handle it by me just not going outside. All weekend, staying in. Got some work I can do. Like, subscribe, do all those things so that you can be warned, alerted. Should some breaking news occur over the weekend, I'll be jumping in and I'll be doing some streams. Okay, short of that, we'll be back on Monday at noon for more High Noon. And then Monday evening, Pillow Talk. Do a Kelly Moore Monday. She'll be on with us on Monday and all that. All right, have a great weekend. Love you guys. You're the best. We'll see you soon. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now. Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.